Hello folks, hope you're all doing well. This can only mean one thing. If we've got the wheelbarrow and the buckets, it's more potatoes. This time it's our second earlies, so both these buckets have got Charlottes in them. They were sown in around about the middle of April. They would have been done in a particular way, so layer of compost, 1 potato layer of compost, 2 potato layer of compost, 3 potatoes, so 3 to 6 potatoes per bucket. We would have mixed in blood, fish and bone and some specific, the Vitax potato fertiliser would have gone in there as well, and that's all it's had in. This is again spent compost. This was compost that was used for potatoes last year, being used again this year, which is why we added the nutrition to it. But I was up at the allotment earlier and I was going to film up there and do a video up there, you know what, and I walked in the gate and I could see the radishes had been nibbled. And I took a couple of steps forward and a blooming rabbit legged it out of the rhubarb. And you know what was, once I'd seen it, I was stomping about and I was really annoyed and I was fixing fences and putting covers on stuff and things like that. For those of you who've seen the channel for a while will know my worn rabbits up there. But over the winter, we've got a plan to get it all fixed. But it just annoyed me. I thought, you know what'll cheer me up? Tipping the potatoes out. So these, like you see, these are second early Charlottes. And there would have been 3 seed potatoes per bucket, and I can see some potatoes poking out already, and that's looking pretty decent. That's the sort of size I would expect the Charlottes to be. And I did one of these videos earlier in the year with our first earlies, and I'm trying to remember the varieties. We did Swift and Belle de Fontenay was the other one, and we've just sort of finished using the first early ones, so it's time to get stuck into the second earlies. And Charlottes are a really good variety. They're usually pretty solid, pretty reliable performer, you know. They'll do you a good sort of turn every day. Those of you who follow football, they're the James Milner of the potato world, you know. They're not magnificently brilliant, but they'll just do you a good solid crop of potatoes every time you do them. And it's actually looking pretty decent. I am seeing a little bit of damage on some of them though, so we've either got a bit of scab or there's been some creepy crawlies of some kind in and about the potatoes. Let's just move that there. Some more. And speaking of potatoes, the first earlies are done. These are the second earlies, and the main crop ones that go in the ground. So we only do first and second earlies in the buckets, and then I do the main crops in the ground. So the main crop ones are, we've got King Edwards and, forgetting the other one off the top of my head, but they are pretty much ready to come up as well. So I know these videos are quite popular. People like to see the potatoes coming out. Oh, look there, yeah, another couple there. And I think we're just about done with these ones. That the ones out the ground should be brilliant in theory, but we'll see. I cut right back in terms of volume this year and spaced them out a bit more, so hopefully we'll end up with some nice big main crop potatoes. But let me come over to the camera and show you these. So this is out of the first bucket there, and I will show you these properly all at the end. But look at this, we've got some real damage there on these ones. I mean, you know, most of them are like this, pretty good, but there's definitely a couple where there's some really bad sort of scab or something on them. But let me just clear the wheelbarrow out, we'll get it sorted, back to the jiffy, and we'll get the second bucket done. Right, so that's the first one sorted, so let's get bucket number 2 tipped out. And just thinking about those last ones, I'm hoping these ones are better. I can see some wood lice in there, but they don't normally cause any bother in terms of nibbling things or being a pest. And how close you can see that in the camera, I will show you them again towards the end there, but I'm trying to keep them, the 2 different buckets in the basket there, each on each side of it, so we can see. I'm intrigued to know if these ones here are cleaner than those ones. And when I say cleaner, I don't mean like, you know, haven't got dirt over them. I mean as in they haven't got any damage or any damage or disease or or that on them, some nice, clean, lovely potatoes, and they are looking better. There's actually, as I say that, I've just pulled that one out there. This little one's got a bit of scab on it, and it's a bit annoying, you know, because these second earlies, generally, the way I would eat them is I would just boil them with the skin on and eat them as like a sort of a salad potato or a, you know, a boiled potato with a meal. I wouldn't bother peeling them, chopping them, cutting them up, mash them and that. I would just eat the potato for as they are, you know, and you've, I might actually do some of them for tea tonight, because certainly apart from the Belle de Fontenay's that I learned the last time, that get better with age, so if you leave them a while after you've harvested them, that new potatoes or first or second earlies, they do really taste at their best just when you've harvested them. Get them clean, get them boiled up, bit of butter, bit of mint, doesn't need anything like that. And the potatoes, because they're such good quality, because they've been grown in the buckets, you know, they've had a nice easy life in the buckets, and they've had no bother, they've had lots of nutrition, they've been looked after, they've not had any competition for space or that from any other crops or anything like that, like some of the main crops might have. And they just taste really, really good when you get them clean, which is, again, to go back to say why I'm a bit annoyed at those ones having a bit of scab on them or looking a bit manky. But I think that's it done. What I'll do again, I'll get some of this cleared up and we'll have a proper look at how the potatoes look in the basket at the end there. Right, so we've unhooked you from the tripod and brought you in for a closer look at these potatoes. So let's have a wee look and see what we've got. So you can see the basket here sort of kind of split into, some of the little tiddlers have sort of rolled into the middle there, but these ones over here, these are out of the first bucket, and these ones over here, these are out of the second bucket. And you can see, you know, quantity wise, there's not really any difference, as much of a muchness as say three seed potatoes per bucket, same sort of conditions. But look at these ones, look at that, that's probably the worst one out of the first bucket, and that scab on them is pretty rough, it's pretty awful on quite a lot of them. Certainly the bigger potatoes out of that bucket has got this awful sort of scab on it. Now this bucket over here, the potatoes are lovely and clean and fresh and nice, and it's a bit odd, you know, the buckets are relatively well controlled. It's the same compost, it's the same nutrition, it's the same seed potatoes from the same suppliers, same watering routine, same part of the allotment that they sit on, and yet look at the difference between these ones over here and these ones over there. And it's just a bit odd, and it's a bit annoying, because the second earlies, like I say, I generally boil them, cook them with a skin on and use them like that. And it's not the end of the world, because we'll still use them, because when it's scab like this, you just peel the potatoes, and I'll use them in a different way. But you know, it's just a bit like the rabbits at the allotment. It's a little bit annoying, but hey, it's not the end of the world. You know, we've got a good crop of potatoes there from the one bucket, so some you win, some you lose. There's always next year, and we've got those main crop ones to come as well. Anyway, I think that's me just about done for today. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.